The earliest relatives of ducks trace back 120 million years to the Aptian age of the early Cretaceous. The gonzo was an amphibious bird, much like today's living ducks, roughly pigeon-sized, living in what is now western China. Its amphibious lifestyle was likely driven by the abundance of shallow lakes and wetlands in the region, which offered both a reliable food source and refuge from land predators. It disappeared around 115 million years ago, likely driven to extinction by rapidly shifting climates and the gradual drying up of those very lakes it depended on. The next branch of the duck family tree wouldn't emerge until the late Cretaceous. Some 69 million years ago, the Vegevisii was a skilled underwater hunter, distinguished by its long, narrow, toothless beak, capped with a large bone at the upper tip. The toothless design reduced weight at the front of the skull, while the bony tip acted like a pair of tongs, giving it a precise grip on slippery prey. Powerful jaw muscles also let it snap its mouth shut with enormous speed and force, snatching prey beneath the surface. Around the same time, across the ocean in Europe, the Asteronus, nicknamed the Wonder Chicken, roamed on short legs. Resembling a small chicken more than any ancestor of the duck, its small, lightweight build was likely an adaptation to the open coastal environments of prehistoric Europe, where staying nimble and low to the ground helped it forage efficiently.
Now, is it just me, or is that skyrock getting bigger? And they're all dead.
The Presbyornis lived 62 to 48 million years ago, spreading across Asia and North America in large social flocks that nested along shorelines. Its long neck and legs allowed it to wade into shallow water and gave it access to food that purely land or purely aquatic birds couldn't easily reach. With its distinctively duck-like head sitting atop a towering frame, it cut a striking figure, until a series of diseases and volcanic eruptions likely brought it to an end. From the same era comes a far more enigmatic creature, the Anessa. This bird is shrouded in mystery, as paleontologists have been unable to give it a proper classification. Its bones were crushed during fossilization, leaving just enough evidence to spark debate, but not nearly enough to settle it. Was it a duck? Was it a chicken? No one quite knows.
Transition.
This was a very interesting period for duck evolution. While the modern mallard was beginning to take shape into the timeless classic we know today, some lineages were experiencing with more radical, ambitious traits. Let's go to Australia, for example. The Dromormus stirtoni evolved in Australia roughly 8 million years ago, when a combination of dry climates and a total lack of predators allowed it to grow to roughly 10 feet tall and weigh nearly 1,100 pounds. Now I want you to guess what the nickname for this absolute abomination was. I'll give you 3 seconds. 3, 2, the Demon Duck of Doom. Yeah, only in Australia could they come up with such an elegant name as the Demon Duck of Doom. Over in what is now Italy, another species of massive waterfowl was making its mark. The Garganornis was roughly 30% larger than a modern swan, likely because it lived in open, exposed areas with no terrestrial predators to keep it in check. It unfortunately went extinct 5 million years ago during the Messinian salinity crisis, after the Mediterranean Sea dried up. The first fossil remains of the modern mallard date back to about 5 million years ago. DNA studies show that they evolved in Africa before spreading across the globe to the temperate and subtropical Americas, Eurasia, and North Africa. The mallard is a dabbing duck, meaning it feeds primarily at the surface rather than diving for its food. And thankfully, around this time, early humans hunted the demon ducks of doom in Australia to extinction. In ancient Egypt, ducks were more than just animals to be hunted for food. They were symbols of fertility and renewal, used in temple rituals and seasonal festivals. King Ramses III, for instance, donated over 43,000 waterfowl to temple rituals in his 31-year reign. Now let's do some quick math. 430,000 divided by 31 is 13,871 waterfowl per year. That's 38 waterfowl per day. This guy was essentially sacrificing 1.5 ducks per hour for 31 years straight. To sustain that kind of volume, the Egyptians would capture and bulk breed wild ducks, one of the earliest records of human beings doing so. The Chinese had been hard at work since the Ming Dynasty, selectively breeding a duck known as the Pekin to yield as much meat as physically possible. This breed would slowly spread across Europe before arriving in the United States in the 19th century, where it became a foundation of American duck farming. Nowadays, ducks are everywhere in popular culture, being seen in an abundance of characters and merchandise. For a creature with such a staggering evolutionary history, you can only wonder where they'll be in another 120 million years.